So, if you've been following football, you know that the Ballon d'Or has been recently, and it's been very controversial. There's been a massive robbery. Basically, if you're not following football or if you're not from Europe, let me explain what the Ballon d'Or is. It's basically just an award that gets awarded to the best player of the year. And I have decided to apply that principle to the UFC, and I will be judging every year by the following criteria: achievements, as in fights a fighter won, and the popularity he gained. So we're gonna start off with 2014, and this one goes to TJ Dillashaw. He started the year off with beating Mike Easton. Yeah, don't worry, I don't know who that is either. But then he beat Renan Barão. He absolutely dominated him and then KO'd him in round 5. And now you may be wondering, okay, and why is that the Ballon d'Or, or in this case the Glove d'Or, I guess, Glove of Gold? Well, Renan Barão was 32-1 at the time he was fighting DJ. He was one of the best to ever do it. So TJ beating him was a huge upset, and the way he did it so convincingly, dominated him for 5 rounds and got the finish. 2015 can go to none other than Conor McGregor. He beat Dennis Siver. Remember, that was a knockout of like the German guy. Then he beat Chad Mendes, and after beating Chad, he also beat Jose Aldo, a mythical, legendary Jose Aldo, who was 25-1 at the time, and he KO'd him just inside of 13 seconds, which is absolutely insane. Now for 2016, I was actually considering also giving this to Conor, since this is the year that he beat Nate Diaz in the rematch, and he absolutely destroyed Eddie Alvarez to become the first double champion in the UFC. And also him being a huge star would contribute to him getting the award. However, he also lost to Nate Diaz in 2016. So he's 2-1 in 2016. So I decided to go with Stipe Miocic. He actually started the year off by KOing Andrei Arlovski. Then he KO'd Fabricio Verdum. And then he KO'd Alistair Overeem, which is just an insane streak. And by the way, all of those KOs happened in round number 1. So yeah, he also won the title against Verdum. So I think that's a no-brainer for Stipe, even if he doesn't get the publicity that Conor gets. He's 3-0 in 2016, all 3 by finishes. None of them were even close, and he did it at heavyweight. 2017, I had a bit of trouble finding out who I'd give this to, but ultimately I went with Max Holloway. He got just 2 wins in the year, but both of them were against Jose Aldo, and he finished him both times in round number 3. Pretty similar finishes and pretty similar TKOs. But yeah, for me, Max Holloway is a clear pick for 2017, just considering that Aldo was 26-2 in the first fight and 26-3 during the second fight, and he wasn't that old at the time really. Now let's get to 2018. 2018 is Khabib Nurmagomedov's year, and I'm not gonna discuss this with anyone. He started the year off by beating El Iaquinta, which in and of itself isn't super impressive and big. However, that is the fight where he captured the lightweight title, and after that he would have the biggest fight in UFC history against Conor McGregor. To this day, this is the biggest fight in UFC history. I can't believe this is 6 years ago, man. Honestly, Conor versus Khabib got me into the sport. Now, if I just said this to someone, they'd think, oh, casual Conor versus Khabib got them into the sport. But dude, that is 6 years ago. I've been a UFC fan for 6 years. That's insane to me. But yeah, that's Khabib's year, in my opinion. He just absolutely exploded on the mainstream. Everybody knew Khabib. I remember at the time I was still going to school. Nobody was really watching UFC, but everybody knew Conor, and everybody started to know Khabib, and everybody knew how it ended. So yeah, that year has to go to Khabib. 2019. Now a lot of you are not gonna like this. A lot of you are gonna try and find somebody who had a better 2019. But the Glove d'Or, no, not the Glove d'Or, the Glove d'Or goes to Israel Adesanya. He started the year off by beating his idol, Anderson Silva. Just like 2 months later, he beat Kelvin Gastelum in a fight of the year contender. Honestly, in my opinion, a fight of the decade contender. I think this is one of the best fights that has ever been in the UFC. But you can go back and watch it. I still love it. And then the best performance he had in 2019 is his fight against Whittaker. Dropping him at the end of the first round, honestly making us believe the fight is already over, and then catching him with that devastating hook and capturing the official middleweight title. He got the interim belt against Calvin, and Izzy was a big name at the time. Obviously he wasn't like Conor McGregor or Khabib levels, but he was like there at the right time. The UFC had just grabbed a lot of casuals and made them into fans. And then there was somebody as Izzy who was very entertaining, who had a lot of flair and style. Now this is gonna sound very weird to you if you've started watching UFC pretty recently, but 2019 Izzy was quite something, okay? The dude was cool, he was stylish, he still held back a lot of his cringe personality that he actually has. He was just a cool, stylish guy. He did his little dances, and he was a guy that had exciting fights back then. And got finishes actually. So I had a lot of trouble picking somebody for 2020 because that was the COVID year, but I've gone with Davon Figero because he beat Joseph Benavidez, then he beat him again 4 months later by rear naked choke, that horrifying rear naked choke where Joseph woke up and was screaming. Then he also beat Alex Perez by a guillotine choke, so 3 finishes. Then he went to a majority draw with Moreno, which he actually would have won if he didn't get a point deduction. So yeah, 2020 is the year of Davon Figero. A really underrated pick and a really good fighter, and he's actually on a 3-fight winning streak. I think he's underrated as fuck. He's already 2-0 in 2024. He has an upcoming bout against Piotr Jan, so he could have a very good 2024. Now let's get to 2021. This was like a half COVID, half non-COVID year, and here I have an extremely clear pick, and that's Kamaru Usman. Listen man, he KO'd Gilbert Burns in round 3, and then he beat Jorge Masvidal by a devastating KO that went absolutely viral and people really started to know Kamaru Usman. And then he beat Colby Covington in a really good fight. Not as good as the first one. Honestly, the first one was in 2019 and I almost considered Usman for 2019 too, because that's where he beat Tyron Woodley, absolutely dominated him, and that's where he had a fight of the year contender against Colby Covington. And by the way, just so you know, I almost considered giving this to Charles Oliveira, since he became such a fan favorite at the time. And he did beat Michael Chandler to become a champion, and he beat Dustin Poirier. So Charles is an honorable mention here, but I just think Usman still had the better 2019, even if he maybe had a bit less exposure to the mainstream. Now 2022, this year undoubtedly goes to Alex Pereira. I mean, he started the year off by beating Bruno Silva in a decision which was kinda iffy, kinda too close. Then he beat Sean Strickland by a devastating left hook in round 1. He put the whole division on notice if they didn't believe in him first. And then, obviously, he got that TKO kind of upset win against Izzy, the comeback victory. And he got a lot of exposure with this. And Israel Adesanya was 23-1 at the time. He hadn't lost a single fight at middleweight. And Alex was the first guy to beat him at middleweight. So yeah, 2022 clearly goes to Alex. Now I also considered giving 2022 to Islam Makhachev, but thing is, he just beat Bobby Green and Charles Oliveira. Obviously his win over Charles was amazing, but only that one good performance and beating Bobby Green doesn't trump beating Izzy, Silva and Strickland, and finishing both Strickland and Izzy. Let's be honest, who cares about the Bruno Silva fight? Now for 2023, we're gonna have Islam Makhachev. Why? Because he beat Volk twice, and I don't think I have to elaborate further. If you disagree with any of these picks, please leave them down below in the comment section. I'm so interested to see if there's anything I missed or if you just disagree. And now for 2024, it's gonna go to Alex Pereira again. He's the first guy in this list to win it twice. And yeah, what can I say? He KO'd Jamal Hill in round number 1, KO'd Yuri in round 2 via head kick, and then he beat Khalil Roundtree in an amazing fight. And he's teasing that he's gonna fight this year again, but I don't think he's gonna. But he's probably gonna fight in early 2025 because he knows he doesn't have a lot of time left. But yeah, 3 title defenses in a span of like between like April and October. So basically 3 defenses in 6 months. That's a defense every 2 months, all of them by finish. Also the publicity that he gets, he's a huge star. He has stepped in, and don't forget, he didn't just KO Jamal Hill, he KO'd him as the headliner of UFC 300, which in my opinion is the best pay-per-view card that we have ever had. If you disagree with that, please leave your opinion down below as well. So I'm just interested to see what you all have to say. But yeah, that's it for my Ballon d'Or for the UFC, the Glove d'Or ranking. And yeah, have a good one everybody, and yeah, see you later.
Holy shit.